What's going on, people? Welcome back.
Yes.
Another episode here with myself, Lex
and Shubbz. And today we got a very special guest. His record speaks for himself. Got the one and only Tobi Alabi.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, bro. Could you just give a quick introduction to who you are, what you do, and just a bit about yourself?
I feel like that's always a very awkward thing to be told to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you said, I'm Tobi Alabi. And what do you want to know?
So what do you do? Who are you?
No, it's like before, kind of what you do and how you got into it.
Okay, so currently I'm a football agent. And how I got into it is, like we were saying outside, like so many people want to play football, which I did. And I played for Mill for 11 years, and then my career was cut short when I was 19 because I had a cardiac arrest. So from there were so many things that happened between me stopping playing football and starting my career as a football agent. Within like a 3-year period, it was like a crazy 3-year period. But yeah, I started and I haven't looked back since.
It's dope. So how are you from playing football to, like you said, those 3 years, what was kind of that transition like? Like how were you able to find something that you could fully apply yourself to? Because now you're on the other side. Whilst you were kind of playing football, did you always have like a business acumen, or were you always kind of entrepreneurial?
Nah, not at all. I feel like in life I've been two different people.
Yeah.
I think when you experience things that like completely change your life but are out of your control, I think your focus and your mentality shifts with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think because I was so young, like I was just about to turn 20 when my incident happened. All I'd known is football, because you grow up, you are known as a football player from young. You are obsessed with the dream of achieving being a footballer, so that's all you think about. It's funny because I took business in school and I got like a U or something. That was terrible.
But you lot were like college to like 16, right? Then everything football.
Everything was football from 5 to 19. Like, obviously I'm from a Nigerian household, so I had to get my the core subjects. But other than that, there wasn't really a focus on anything other than football. So when I stopped playing, I was in trouble, man. I was like, what am I gonna do? Do you know what I mean? Like, genuinely, I didn't know what I was gonna do in my life. I didn't know how I was gonna make money. I didn't know how I was gonna sustain the lifestyle that I had. Because, like I said, you're in a bubble. Like when you play football, you're in a bubble.
Yeah,
you're genuinely in a bubble. It's so tough to explain. But even now, when I look at my clients, I just look at some of them and I'm like, especially the young ones, I'm like, I can't wait for you to hit 20, 21, and we can start having some serious conversations about, do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why it was really difficult. And then obviously the mental aspect of dealing with the loss of your career, and then having to find something new was really tough. That was a tough transition.
Can you imagine?
But ultimately, I think you asked if I'd always had business acumen. I didn't, but I'd always had just an inner desire to succeed. And I think when you have that and you can like self-motivate yourself, I think it always helps, because when you're thrown in different scenarios, you're just always ready to fight to get out.
For sure.
So like, tell us the process of, you had your incident, kind of you didn't know what to do, which you kind of briefly explained, but how did you actually get into being a football agent?
Yeah, did you shadow someone, or did you just is there courses, or what's kind of the process?
Nah, so I remember when I was first approached to be an agent, to work with an agency, had no interest in it.
Oh, so you were approached?
Yeah,
oh, nice.
I had zero interest in it because I had a really bad experience with my agent when I was young. So I didn't really understand what agents did, and therefore I had no interest in it. But one of my good friends is Hector Bellerin, plays for Arsenal. And because we were always together, I would always see his agent. But bearing in mind his agent lives in Spain.
Okay.
So one day I said to him, I was like, have you not got any other clients? Like, why are you always here? It was truth and jest, innit?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, this is how I am with all of my players. But this guy's like integrated into the family. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's really interesting. So I was just observe him. Then one day he says to me, he says, you know so many players. Why don't you come and work with me? So I was like, all right, cool. I'll give it a go. Didn't know what I was doing. I remember I went to a game and I'm standing there and watching it. I think it was Norwich. I was watching Norwich against Arsenal or something like that, under 16s. And I'm standing there, I'm like, okay, yeah, sick, but what do I do now? Like legit, I was like, what do I do now? And obviously he was based in Spain, and he couldn't really give me the education that I needed. So I did it for like another 3 months and then I stopped. I was like, I ain't doing this no more, man. That's long. I was spending money I didn't have to go to games and asking my mum for petrol money to go here, there and everywhere. And then I just stopped. And I think, so I did that for about 3 months. Then like 6 months after that, I don't know what happened, but there was just a trigger. I had a certain conversation with a friend of mine and it was a trigger and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to give it another go. And then that's what happened. We started to try and get investment to start an agency. But again, you can't get investment to start an agency that doesn't exist because there's no capital in the business. So from there, we met a guy who had left a big company and was going to another company. And he was like, why don't you just come and work with us at this company? And that company's called Base Soccer. So they're one of the biggest agencies in the world because they've got so many players, probably over 300 clients,
wow.
Which is crazy. And for me, the goal was always to go in, learn what I can, and then take it out. And I kind of set myself a two-year window to do that. And I lasted there for 7 months.
7 months?
Yeah.
Too hungry.
Why 7 months?
Because there's a number of reasons, man. How long have you got? I think initially, what really surprised me was the amount of people that didn't know what they were doing, that had been in the industry for a long time. So I think that in my industry, the only way to really judge how good somebody is by how long they've been doing it and what they've achieved in that period of time.
Yeah.
So I'm 2 months in and I'm speaking to people and they're like, yeah, I'm 15 years in this and I've done 10 years here. And I'm like, yeah, but we're going after the same clients. To me, that doesn't make sense. Like, if I'm in the game for 15 years, I should be competing with people like Mino, Raiola, and George Mendes because I should have done enough in that 15 years to put me on that level. So that was kind of the first red flag. And then the second red flag was when there was a Brazilian youth international that I saw playing in England. And long story short, but we just got connected and we were talking. And then I was like, I think I can sign this guy. He doesn't have an agent. Then everybody in the company was like, Brazilians are all like this. They said they don't have an agent. You do the work and you find out they do. And I'm like, nah, I genuinely think this guy doesn't have an agent. So this is Phil Foden, Sancho, Hudson-Odoi, Ryan Brewster, that England team when it was the Under-17 World Cup. So England got Brazil in the semi-finals of the World Cup. So I was like, you lot, I'm going.
Yeah.
It was in India. I was like, I've been speaking to his dad. The dad asked me if I'm going to the semis. I said yes. I'm like, well, why did you say yes? Because I don't know. I did. That's what I was like. They're like, I just say yes. I was like, so then they're like, well, you can't go. And I was like, what do you mean I can't go? They're like, well, we're not paying for you to go to India. You're not going to sign this kid. I said, okay, cool. This is going to happen. I will go. I'll use my money to go. And then when I sign him, you have to give me. It was like a bet. Like, you have to give me double back.
Was it very competitive? Like when you were working there?
Ish. I'll explain why I said ish shortly.
Cool.
But so yeah, that was the situation. And then they still didn't want me to go, but I went anyway. So again, I was like, Mum, can you lend me like $2 bills or something? I was like, sis, can you give me $2 bills? My brother, can you lend me? You know what I mean? And then yeah, I went. His dad was so happy that I was there. He was so happy I was there. And then he was like, bro, I really want to sign with you. This guy's from Brazil, by the way. This is how he talks. He's like, bro, I really want to sign with you. And then I'm FaceTiming his dad. His dad can't speak English. I can't speak Portuguese at that point. So he's like translating between the three. It's like 2 a.m. in India. Because I flew there, because I was paying for it. I paid for the flights, but I couldn't pay for the hotel room, innit?
Hustler.
So I flew to India. Yeah. At the hotel they were staying at, I stayed in. I had my suitcase, everything. And then we're sitting in the lounge. Obviously, the England boys are there as well, and I know some of them. So we're chilling, we're talking. And then my flight back to London is at like 8 a.m. So I didn't really need to sleep. So they've gone upstairs, we finished talking, and then I'm messaging back in, I think India's way ahead of us in terms of time, or behind, one of the two. But I messaged, I'm like, yeah, I met him, we spoke, And then they were like, okay, cool. Did you sign him? I was like, nah. Like, okay. So from where I'm having like a good feeling about the conversation we just had, the boy's dad's buzzing, and they're like, well, you didn't sign him. So I'm like, all right, say nothing. So I get back to England, and the boy's dad messages me. It's like, oh, it'll be great if you could come out to meet us and sit down with us. So I'm going again and like, yo, this is the message. They want to sign. They don't have an agent. Let's get it done. They're like, no. So again, at these times I had a credit card, didn't it?
Okay.
So the first time I ever got a credit card. So I'm like, I can have a hotel room this time. So went to Brazil by myself, didn't speak any Portuguese. It was a tournament, and again, long story short, I was with the dad for 4 days straight. And for 2 out of those 4 days, it was just me and the dad. Google Translate is a beautiful thing sometimes.
Google Translate is mad.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. So by the end of those 4 days, the dad agreed to sign, the boy signed, and we got it locked in. And this is the third red flag that was like, this don't really make sense, because I'm thinking, this is amazing. I've done this for 3 months. I've signed a Brazilian youth international. Like, Brazilian players, they're the creme de la creme. Do you know what I'm saying? So I get back to England and I'm like, boom, there's the rep contract. Done. Oh, you did it. Yeah, did it. They're like, oh, that's good. I'm thinking they're going to be like, that's amazing. Well done.
Yeah. After
like,
all your effort.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, there's a saying, they say, be mindful of those that don't clap when you win.
Yeah.
So for me, that was like, okay.
Word.
I see that. I see that on. And then the final straw, this one's a long story, so I'll just cut it really short. But the final straw is when a Russian agent asked me to help him move a player from CSK Moscow to Monaco. And they invited us out to the game when they were playing against Arsenal in the Europa League. And words got back to them that I was basically setting everything up, which I was doing in the right way. And then because one of the guys looked after someone who's an important person in Russian football, he just went mad. And then they were like, your job is to recruit players, not to speak to clubs. So I was like, okay. So you're not supporting me when I need the support. When I do well, you're not showing me love. And when I'm trying to aim higher, you're saying stay in your position.
Yeah.
So I said the next week, I gave them my letter of resignation and I left. So that all happened in the space of 7 months.
Yeah. And from there, you just been doing your own thing.
Yeah, from there, I left. I was scared, man. Because I was like, yo, you're leaving an agency where you get paid every month. Now you're going to go back to having zero money and you don't have clients that are going to make you money. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Betting yourself.
I just went, man. So yeah, I made a jump, and thankfully I've got a lot of people around me that I have forged good relationships with at that time. And I'm not against learning. Like I think anybody can teach you anything.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean?
So good.
I'd pick up the phone to anyone and say, "Oh, do you know how to do this? Can you introduce me to this person?" Da, da, da. And yeah, it just grew from there. So I think I went to base in the summer of 2017. I left base in May 2018. And then I officially set up my company in January 2019. So there was like a 6-month period where I was doing bits, I was still working, I was still grafting, but the structure wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then I answered your question in a really
amazing solid story. Still needed that.
Amazing.
I got a question. Yeah. So let's say, cool, tomorrow I wake up, decide I want to be a football agent. How do I do that?
It's funny because a lot of people say it.
Yeah.
And the first thing I ever say to anybody is, "Are you desperate for money right now?" Because if you are, don't do it. Like if your motivator for being an agent is to make money, but in that current period of time you're desperate for money, and you think being an agent now is going to make you money now, don't do it.
I think that's for all businesses, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
it is.
I'd agree.
Yeah,
I'd agree. To some extent,
like t-shirts, no, but like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with some industries, it's slow, but you might see a £50 this month. You might see a £200 the next month. Then you might see another £50. Then it might be, raw, this month I made £500. Then it's like a bag. Do you know what I mean? But you literally make no money.
Yeah, how does
as a football agent?
Just in terms of transparency, how does the payment structure work in kind of agencies? Because I know there's some deals that you can make that can really bring the bread in, but also, like you said, it's not all the time as well. So how's the payment kind of structure in the football agency world?
So this is the first thing that spun me when I started, because when I signed my first player, it's weird. It's just something you don't think about. When I signed my first player, I was buzzing, and then I was like, but I'm not gonna get paid for signing that player. So
you don't get no commission?
No.
Jesus.
Even when you're working for a company?
No.
Okay.
When you do a deal for that player, then you get paid.
So when you say a deal, obviously, like, my knowledge on football is very minimal. You know what I'm saying? I'm still referring to like Ruud van Nistelrooy and Paul Scholes, bro. So like when you say a deal, is that for example negotiating a move or a transfer?
Yeah, so it could be a transfer or contract renegotiation or commercial deal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So commercial be like
Nike, Coke,
like a brand partner.
Yeah. Could be anything. Like, for example, on the way here, I was speaking to the guys at Pepsi because we're doing a deal for one of my players with Pepsi. So that's that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So until you do one of those three things, you're not seeing a penny.
Yeah. So the work just starts as soon as you sign them. That's actually when you start working. It's not even when the money starts coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Makes sense. And then
That's
you kind
crazy.
of negotiate a percentage that works well for you both after.
So the way it should work is that you get the club to pay your commission, not the player.
Okay. Yeah.
The club will always pay your commission unless they don't rate your player. And if the club doesn't rate your player, then you shouldn't be sending your player there. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah, like they say the set guide number is 5%
Okay.
of whatever the player's salary is. But
sometimes you can negotiate.
Sometimes it's 5%, sometimes it's 25%. Do you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Depends how good your player is.
And then also, do you kind of, so is that like, do you get that off their salary or off how much you get signed for and stuff like that?
It can work both ways.
Okay.
It can work both ways. You can, for example, there's a club, there's a European club that's asked me to help them sell a player, and he's not my client, but they will pay me 10%. Well, they said 5, but I'm gonna get 10. They'll pay. They said 5% of the transfer fee. They'll pay to me as a fee. So that's one way.
Yeah.
And then the other way is you get the percentage of the overall contract. So if the overall contract is worth 10, then you get 5% of 10. But that 5% is paid over the duration of the contract.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I get you.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what got for example, goal bonuses and that? can that be negotiated in there as well? Or,
For the agent,
yeah.
no. That's just for the player.
Yeah.
That's just for the player.
Cool. Okay, so that makes sense. So also in terms of skills, so like we're hearing stuff like negotiation, stuff like that. What kind of skills would you say are imperative to be a really good agent?
I think being an agent it's hard, but it's not hard. I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you do the work, it's not hard. But a lot of people don't want to do the work. Like, you really need to educate yourself. You really need to want to learn.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing. You really need to want to learn. Like, learn how to structure a contract properly.
Yeah.
Learn what makes a contract favourable to your client. Learn what makes a contract favourable to a club as well. Because club relationships are important as well as player relationships. Do you know what I mean? Being personal is really, really important. Being trustworthy is really important as well. Because players don't like people they can't trust, and clubs don't like people they can't trust. So, yeah, I think those are the two key factors before anything else.
Yeah.
Because everything else you can learn.
Yeah.
You can learn how to negotiate with someone. You can learn what works, what doesn't work. But I don't think you can learn how to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
Just
you can't see who you
are
are
or
and
you're not. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I'd say.
And how do you kind of keep on sharpening those skills as well? Like, is it just the more you do it, the easier you get comfortable as well? Because you're also building a company as well now. So like, how is that kind of working as well? Because some people are just good hustlers, but then to be a good businessman, to build a company, to build a structure, how what's that process like?
I'm gonna be real, man. Like, I've never done it before.
Yeah.
So I don't have the answers. I'm learning as I go.
Do you have mentors or anything that's kind of guiding you as well in that sense?
Not really. When I say I'm learning as I go, it's in reference to your point about sharpening your tools. So, of course, we've had success because I've been in this business now for 3 years, and I've worked in a company, set up my company, and sold my company in the space of 3 years. So something is working. Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
I think sharpening your tools is just, you have to have a desire to want to improve every day. Otherwise, you stagnate. Do you know what I mean? And I think the fear of being caught by competition or not catching your competition is what stimulates that improvement. Because I see, for example, what's this guy's name, man? Sky Andrews. I don't know if you've heard of that name before, but he was Sol Campbell's agent.
Oh, okay.
And now in the industry, nobody rates Sky Andrews. But how old is Sol Campbell? Like 40. So let's say 20 years ago or 25 years ago, Sky Andrews was the big dog. Like, everybody knew, Sky Andrews, that's Sol Campbell's agent. He's got this guy, he's got that guy. And I look at that and I'm like, I don't ever want to be that person. Do you know what I mean? So his problem was he didn't evolve. Yeah. And the game changes all the time.
Sure.
The world changes all the time.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I just think you have to be aware that you're not going to evolve from a comfort zone.
What does evolve look like in the football agency?
Very good question. The aim of the game is to have the best clients and do the biggest deals. Because if you do the biggest deals for your clients, then they're set and you're set. Because by looking after their money, you're looking after your money, right? That's the aim of the game. But what comes with that is that if you have the biggest and best clients, then your company becomes the biggest and best company. So that evolution just looks like your client base is getting better and better. The impact you're having on your players' careers is getting better and better. And your company structure and the way your company looks is getting better and better all the time. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's what it looks like, and that should be your driver. Like, I look at my client base now versus the beginning, and I'm like, okay, there's a clear evolution. And then I look at the prospective clients that I'm talking to now versus the prospective clients I was talking to a year ago.
Different level.
And I'm like, okay, there's a clear progression.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just think you just have to be accountable to yourself to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's really good.
How would you describe the model of being a football agency? Being a football agent? Is it more of a business or like?
Yeah, it's a business.
Yeah,
100%.
So I just want to just circle back to my previous question in terms of if someone wakes up tomorrow and decides they want to do it. Kind of what steps can they take to do that? Because I got even friends that who are interested in being a football agent. I'm sure people who are watching this pod, the thought has probably even crossed their mind.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
the first thing is what I said before,
Mhm.
understanding why you're doing it.
Yeah.
The second thing is understanding that as a football agent, your job is so crucial. Like, you have to understand that my clients listen to what I say and have faith that what I say will be the best thing for them to do for their lives. Not just football, like their lives. And I'm going to circle back to that point because there's a great example of Tariq Lamptey in that point. And then I think having that understanding, and then the best thing to do is align yourself with somebody who you think can teach you or educate you on what the industry is.
So question, let me pause you there, right? So you have this individual who's interested, he doesn't know no footballers, he doesn't know no agents, no scouts, coaches, nothing like that.
Yeah.
He's cold. How does he then, expose himself to that circle?
I think that's part of the
Grind.
game, so to speak. Yeah. Like, you have to create those opportunities.
You start somewhere.
You have to create those opportunities. If you don't know someone somewhere, find them. Do you know what I mean? Like, how one of my clients, Nikita Paris, how she moved to Lyon. Lyon is like the Real Madrid
In France,
of women's football.
Yeah.
So the best players play for Lyon.
Oh.
Lyon pay their players the most. They've won the most Champions Leagues or whatever. Nikita was killing it at Man City, and there was only one place she could go, which was Lyon. I didn't have the contact for Lyon. I didn't know anybody in Lyon, but I knew a player that played for them, and I said, "Okay, can you leave me tickets for there was a Champions League game?" So one guy that I know, he speaks French. At this point, I couldn't speak any French, so I was like, bro,
Can you speak French now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, hard.
So I was like, bro, can you come with me to this game? I need you to translate for me. So on the way there, I'm sitting on the computer, I'm finding out who's who at Lyon, who I need to speak to, taking a picture of it on my phone. And after the game, we're in the players' lounge. I'm literally looking at my phone, like, looking at people's faces. Okay, no, that's not you. That's not you. Found the person we need to speak to. Boom. I said, okay, bro, come, let's go. When I spoke to the person, basically said, I heard you're interested in Nikita Paris. That's a lie. I didn't know that they were. And then they were like, okay, wait there. Then I went and got someone. They came back to us and they're like, are you her agent? I said, yeah. They said, okay, cool. We'll fly you out next week. Want to sit down about doing a deal for her. So it's like, the point of that story was to say, I didn't know anyone there. So when you're saying, if somebody doesn't know anybody, just
be resourceful.
Yeah,
use your resources.
Figure out a way to
But I think
find that person.
it's definitely much easier said than done, because then people have the thought of doubt. Then, like, they even doubt their own confidence. Are they even ready to even speak to this person? How are they going to even communicate? Do you know what I mean? They obviously, because they're doing the unknown, they're going into unknown territory.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. I'm definitely a big advocate for that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. So also is kind of like what other like habits were you able to build for you to really get yourself in kind of that kind of mind frame where you're like, regardless of where it takes, I'm gonna find a way. Like what habits would you say have served you really well in everything you're doing now?
Resilience. Bro, like, without going too deep into it, because sometimes it's very difficult to talk about because I don't really talk about it anymore. But you have to realize when you have a cardiac arrest, yeah, you die. Like, your heart stops beating. My heart stopped beating for 9 minutes. So in essence, I was gone.
Yeah.
And the realization that in an instant, everything that you think is important, you no longer have control over,
for sure,
or you can't impact, is gone. That just drives me every single day, because it's like, okay, like you said, someone might not have the confidence to speak to someone, but it's the world is a tough place, isn't it?
Word.
So really and truly, it's like, if you don't have the confidence, then just force yourself to do it, because you might never have that chance again.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? So I say resilience definitely stemming from me going through that whole ordeal, and just wanting to do something great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just that word greatness has been with me from such a young age. The first time I watched there's a film called The Express. It's about Ernie Davies, and he was the first African American well, he wasn't in the NFL yet, but American football player to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've seen it.
you've seen it. That film touched me differently. Like I think I was 13 or 14, and I remember sitting on my computer. You know when you have those streaming, yeah. And I remember crying. Like the film touched me, and there's I think it's Corinthians. I can't remember the specific verse, but within that, it's the verse that says, "By the grace of God, I am what I am, and His grace to me was not without effect. Yet even though I worked harder than all of them, it was by God's grace and not mine that I am where I am." And for me, that was like raw. Yeah, I didn't really know what it meant at the time, but I was like, "That's powerful, like really, really powerful." And that stuck with me for a very long time. And even the name of my company, Magna Sports, like Magna is Latin for greatness. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's that alongside resilience is my driving factor.
For sure, bro. Powerful.
A lot of people let that guy miss. Like anything you do, regardless of your religion, if Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, God has to be at the center of everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Because without him, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? And I've always realized that, right? Like, I've always been a Christian, all that stuff. But I think it's only recently I had kind of woke up with some of the coffees like, like God actually needs to be the center of everything. Yeah. Everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So.
No, and also like you said, that realization, like your situation with the cardiac arrest, and also like kind of like Alex and I were talking about, like also just like losing a loved one, or understanding that we're all on limited time and we don't have that long, so there's no point of deliberating whether I should do something. Like once it sits in you might as well do it. Do you know what I mean? So that's really amazing to hear, and that's also kind of something that people also should really use as a driving force, like you do. Just knowing that you're on limited time, so make the most out of your time, regardless of whether it's comfortable or not. So that's really really amazing to hear.
Just to add to that, where we're from, we don't have the luxury of being able to second guess what we're going to do. Because I don't know what anybody's situations here are, but I'm going to generalize and say that we're all from probably similar backgrounds, right? Yeah. Parents aren't English. Okay, cool. So for me, it's like, if I don't do my thing, I can't say, "Oh, Dad, can you bust me?" Like,
for sure.
Can you hold out your brethren? Can I get
What? We don't have that privilege.
I don't have that. So you have to get it. And ultimately, our parents, I speak for my parents. My parents came to this country and did jobs that they were overqualified to do,
for sure.
but they were the only jobs they could get. So financially, they were not in positions to support and sustain themselves for the future. So it's like, okay, when you come of age, you're now grafting for yourself, but you're also grafting to pay back
for sure.
what your parents did. Do you know what I'm saying? So we don't have the luxury to say, I want to do it, but it's going to take a year, 18 months before, if it takes a year, 18 months, then do it.
Word. For sure.
Do you know what I mean? Delayed gratification is the best kind of gratification.
100%.
So.
I was talking about that earlier, bro.
100% agree. No, that's amazing, and that's actually facts as well. Just understanding that there was so much sacrifice made for us, and we got to be able to repay them for that as well, and using that as a driving factor as well. But my question is also like, so funny enough, in the last episode we talked about this kind of how from our backgrounds there's a lot of figures that kind of sound crazy to us, but when you're in the football agency world, you're seeing comers. How are you kind of able to like not limit yourself in that sense, like where you're like like how am I asking for 25% of this? Like, how are you able to kind of fix your mind frame? Because I feel like, or do you not relate? Because obviously you're coming from playing football from young. Like, where you kind of, what was your relationship like with money beforehand? Like, how did you view money and stuff like that?
Terrible. Because I never had it.
So when you say terrible, was you always holding on to it, or it's like
No.
I was listening to Fredo's Daily Duppy, innit?
Yeah.
And he was like something along the lines of didn't come from wealth, so that when I got mine, the first thing I bought was a bust out in a box.
Not a house.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not a house, as Shubbz says. So it's like, cause I know how I was. I just went brazy with it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I realized, oh shit, I can't be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was me still.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It happens.
But did that ever hold you, like when it came to discussing figures and stuff like that, were you ever selling yourself short or?
At the beginning, because I didn't really know. I thought I knew what I was doing, but looking back now, like there are some deals that I did and I was like, bro, you could have done this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
But
That's
I didn't
just part
know.
of the process,
That's the
right?
process. That's not because of the financial side of things. But to answer your question, no, because of our backgrounds, my background, I don't sell myself short. But I laughed when he said it and I looked at you because it goes back to the Tariq situation. And there was a club, whatever knows it is, Lille wanted to sign him from Chelsea. And I actually wanted him to go to Lille because they're just renowned for producing unbelievable players. Like he played 3 games for Chelsea at this point, but we all knew that he needed to leave Chelsea. So it was between Lille and Brighton. Brighton was the best option in the UK. I thought Lille was the best option overall, but he wanted to go to Brighton, right? So we've negotiated both contracts. I went to Lille, sat down with Luis Campos, sat down with Mark Ingler. Mark Ingler's the guy that signed Ronaldinho at Barca. And Luis Campos is the guy that discovered Hazard and Mbappe and Benzema and everyone else in it.
I know what Project Mbappe is. I know what that one is.
You get into the room in the office and it's just sometimes when I go to these places, I'm like, bruh.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, how does it feel to be around these type of people?
It feels normal. It feels like that's where I should be.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't feel out of place. But what I meant when I said wow is like you're doing all right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So in Lille they got a big red table, and that's the negotiating table. Everybody in football knows at a certain level, when you're sitting around the red table, it's kind of long still. I went there by myself. This is the first like multi-million-pound deal that I'd done. So there's Luis Campos, Mark Ingler, some other guy, and some finance guy. So it's like 4 on 1. So we're talking, and then it gets to the figures. So it gets to the commission side of things. And the geezer's written down on a piece of paper. It's like a movie, bro. He's written down the numbers on a piece of paper. And then he's written down another. Then he's written down another. Then he's folded the paper and he's passed it across the table. And I'm sitting there like, bro, you could just tell me what it is. So anyway, so I take it and I open it. And this is where it's long because you can't show nothing on your face.
Yeah.
You gotta have the poker face.
But bro, when I saw the numbers, I was like, hey. And then I was like, okay, it's okay. I'll speak to the boy's dad, but I think he might want you to do better because he's got better options in England. In my mind, I'm dancing in my head. I'm like, Ross, I've done this. Yeah, Mum, you're going here. You're like, just, yeah, it was
You're
a lot
already
still.
planning.
I hear you.
There was a lot. It was north of 7 figures.
Wow.
So yeah,
Jesus,
it was beautiful. So in that moment, it's like, fam, yeah, like five of us in a 2-bedroom flat in Elephant. Then we move out to Bexley, and then it's like you just don't think that's a lie. That's no, because I always knew. I always knew. But when you see it, it's different.
Yeah. For
do you know what I mean? So I was just like, bro, so that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then when I got back in my car, because I drove because Lille's not far. Just got on the train and then with the car. When I got back in the car, I called my brother. I was like, yo, this is what these guys just offered. Da, 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 da. But this is why I rate my brother, because it was like, yeah, just, that's sick, but
keep it calm.
Let's
He humbled
get back
you.
to work, innit?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, saying that. So I'm driving back and I'm thinking, what's the best option? Sat down with him and his family, and we decided the best option was Brighton. Even though the P's Brighton put in front of us was way less than Lille. But then it goes back to the delayed gratification that we're talking about. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think a lot of people who haven't seen money would be like to their client, yo, you need to sign this now. Like, I'm trying to get a bus now. You get me? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Serious.
So, yeah, I think it was just
No, that's dope. I feel like that also comes down to bigger players where in terms of integrity, you're building your personal brand in a sense of you want the best for your players all the time, like you said. So like you're not like, and that delayed gratification as well, not just going for like the figures that you see right now, but also knowing that in the long run it'll pay off as well because you did right by your player as well. But in a situation like that, how are you kind of able to also just in sense of you saying you wanted them to go there, maybe because like you said, they're renowned for making the best players. How are you kind of be able to give, like, how can you be favourable for both? Like say like this is what's best for you, but this is what you want. Like how the situations like that play out?
Because they were both good options. I just thought one was better than the other. But they were both very good options. Like, whichever one he picked, I would have been happy. But yeah, the one he picked has worked out amazingly for him right now because he's flying.
Yeah.
He's doing really, really well.
No, that's really good. And when did you kind of start going into like female football as well? Was that when you started or just further along the line? Did you see a niche there or how was that? How that come about?
So three things. I saw a niche because I was like, the game's in its infancy and it can only get bigger, which means that the revenues will only get bigger. And the second thing was, like I said, you don't make money straight away. So I was like, I can definitely sign top female players quicker than I can sign top male players. So that's what I did. I went and signed top female players. And then the third thing was just thinking back to the growth of the game. Like when it does grow, I want to be in a position where I'm one of the most respected agents in women's football, which thankfully I now am, in England at least, because five of our clients they start for England.
Solid.
So, yeah. But the women's game, you have to look at it as its own game. Like I think a lot of people try to compare it to the men's game. You can't compare a sport that has only really come to prominence in the last 15 years to a sport that's been dominating
for years.
Global sport for over 100 years. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but no, our clients are amazing, man.
No, that's dope, man. That's dope. Do you also have like other plans of like other sports, like so I'm a big fan of ballers. So like that's what made me I wanted to get more into like wealth management, like personal finance for these football players and stuff, because like the Ballers is just an amazing show. But like, do you have plans on expanding into like different kind of fields? Because those skills you learn now are also transferable, just in terms of like being a broker, being a middleman, being able to connect the dots as well. Do you have any other interest in stuff like that as well?
100% when I've locked down the football side of things. Do you know what I mean? I think I wouldn't want to try and run to something else before this section of what I'm trying to build is completely patterned. Do you know what I mean?
Is that the same for even just kind of just taking a slight step aside from football? So it could be, just investing in something or just doing a little side project.
But listen, I think anything's possible. I don't know if I'm going to be an agent in 10 years. I don't know if I'm going to be an agent in 5 years. I think I will be, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but again, the bubble mentality of football, I used to think you can only do one thing and be one thing, and you shouldn't try and jump between different things. But now it's like, why not? Why can't I want to be a music producer
Yeah.
in 10 years or an actor. Do you know what I mean? I'd be dead, but do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think I'm definitely not limiting myself to one sport, and I'm definitely not limiting myself to just being an agent.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of different interests.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, even with that as well, like you got your foundation.
Yeah.
How is that going? Like, how did you kind of come about it? What's your plans for it? Just a bit more info, and how can people also support with that as well?
So the foundation I started as a result of my cardiac arrest, and having to stop playing football, because I was just like, what I experienced for someone who was playing at the level I was playing at for a championship club, it shouldn't have been allowed for me to get to that position where I could have lost my life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I was fuming. So I set up my charity, and we started working with the PFA and the Premier League and whatever. And then
what's it called, sir?
The Heart for More Foundation. And we started to do loads of work in the community, because I started to learn more about cardiac health and how it really affects young people.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't associate heart issues with young
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
But it affects loads of young people. And then also how it affects people of our heritage more than people of Caucasian heritage. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just it became a big passion of mine. We did loads of work in the community between 2013 and 2017, 18. We'd done some work in South Africa, which was amazing. And now I've kind of scaled back the operation for the charity because I'm so invested in my business. Do you know what I'm saying? And the reason for that is because I'm a bit of a control freak. So I need it to be done in a specific way. And if it's not done that way, I'd just rather it not be done.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you know what I mean?
Does that mean you kind of have problems like letting other people, like delegating roles and getting other people involved in a sense?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to, but I don't now.
Oh, that's amazing. How are you able to break past that? Because I see it all the time. A lot of people kind of, when it's time to scale up, they kind of don't want to let go of it. How are you able to kind of let go of it in order to actually get bigger and scale?
Because I knew I didn't like it. And I knew that if I didn't like it, then if I knew I didn't like it and I did it, it would make me better. So that's why I just did it.
Yeah, because I think it's so key that once you understand that you're actually putting a glass ceiling on yourself, trying to spin so many plates, and you can kind of get more doing less as well. It kind of takes you to that next level as well, which is amazing.
How did you actually come to that realization? Because a lot of people that I've noticed, they don't even know their own weaknesses and what hold them back.
Yeah.
So how did you actually come to that?
You just got to be honest with yourself, man. Like, people in general don't want to be honest with themselves.
Yeah.
Like you know the things you don't like about yourself and you just ignore it.
Yeah.
Or you just don't deal with it. And there's so many things. I think it comes with growing up as well.
Yeah, self-awareness
like
as well.
Self-awareness. Yeah, there's so many things that I've learned about myself over the last kind of 3 years that have completely changed my mentality and my outlook. And I think looking back to when I was at base, I went into base with a certain arrogance. And if I had that arrogance that I had then, now, with this merger, the acquisition that we've done with my company, it fell. So there's things that, cause it's so hard, man. There's things that I look at now that people do or say, and I'm like, and I just keep quiet. I just think, okay, this is what you would have done back then. Don't do it.
It's
growth.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, also, big congratulations on the merger.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
What are kind of your next plans? Like, what do you have in the works? Like, where do you see yourself? I don't really like this question either, but kind of what are your plans for the future? What you got right now, and how can people also help as well?
Just to succeed, man. I think it's unfair. I think you should have a plan, but I think it can be limiting to say this is where I want to be in 5 years.
For sure, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I know what the success looks like, and that's what I want. But how long it will take, I don't know.
Yeah, no, really good answer. I do definitely agree with that. So where can our listeners find you? Where can they reach out to you if possible? Socials.
Or email.
Okay.
But
what's your
my
socials?
email's on my socials.
All right. What's your socials?
It's just Tobi Alabi.
Dope.
_ I think on Instagram.
Yeah, no, we can put that in there.
I deleted my Twitter, man.
Oh yeah, no, I hear you.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, we'll put that in the
I deleted my Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter
I hear that.
I hear that. It's a heavy place. It's not as fun as Insta. Cool.
Yeah, Twitter's tough, man. And because see me when I see people say dumb things, I really want to speak.
Nah, I get you. You have to fight it.
So I just deleted it.
Yeah, no, I get you, bro. Nah,
I missed the banner. I missed the banner on Twitter's undefeated.
Well, you see on Instagram like 2 weeks after.
Yeah,
you see on Shade Room or something like that.
No,
it always
dead.
flows over.
Why are you waiting for Shade Room to give you the banter? Like?
It always flows over. So that's amazing. Quickly before we wrap up, we always have like a word for the week. So do you have any word for the week for our listeners going into this new week? That's to get them pumped.
Word singular.
Word phrase.
It could be 2 words.
Whatever's sitting on your mind.
Whatever.
I don't know. I'm sorry, man.
You could give your scripture if you want. The scripture of Corinthians.
I think. Nah. Do you know what? I think it's just growth, innit? Because that's a lot of what we've spoken about today. Just try to grow every day. Like even if it's fine margins.
It all adds up.
There's a book that I read called The Compound Effect.
Yes. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, he's
books.
Always banging on consistency.
Yeah, because consistency does compound.
Drilled that into my head. Still.
It does compound. Even if it's just a little change in a day, like you said, it definitely compounds.
But also, there's something that, I hope you don't mind, I don't know if we're pressed for time.
No, it's all good, bro.
Yeah,
there's something that really bugs me about people that I like or care about, which is a lot of people. Like, we all say the right things. When we speak, we all know that, like, this is the answer to that, and you got to do this and you got to do that. But I was having this conversation with my brother the other day. So many people have the answers to why things don't go the way they want it to go, but their situation doesn't change.
It's execution.
Yeah.
Everyone's motivated to do something, they just don't execute.
And I think that is what it should be a focus. Because everybody's got the answers. You know?
You know what it takes. It's just
actually
about
putting
doing
it to practice.
Putting it into practice and being consistent with it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that I just wanted to.
Can I add?
One.
Yeah, just off the back of what you just said, it's just like it's a phrase I always say. It's called "get it cracking." Like if you want to do something, even if you know you're not gonna do it the right way, just get it cracking, and you just learn as you go. You know what I'm saying?
Dope. Amazing, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Guys, this was his first one. He said he usually turns them down, so it's a great honor.
Make sure you listen to this twice.
Yeah, twice. I say 3 times, to be honest.
3 times.
But amazing, man. Thank you so much, bro. Really do appreciate it, and I'm sure our listeners appreciate it as well.
Man.
Alex, closing words.
Guys, like, subscribe, follow, send us a message, email, all that good stuff. If you want to get in contact with us, if you want to ask us any questions, hit us up on the DMs. We see every DM. Sometimes you can't always reply, but we try our best. And yeah, man, there you have it. Another episode of Hustle Smart, guys. And, our guest, Tobi.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
And guys, remember to focus on things that move
the needle.
As always.
Bow.